The world seeks power through the use of persuasion or my pushing my will onto somebody else through force or kind of like wrestling. Whereas in God's economy, we have positions of authority or power, if you will, because we are submitted to God and serving others. This is why the Jews told Jesus, "If you're God, come down from the cross," because their idea of God was wrong, and we view the world through the lens of our idea of God. Let me explain. If I hear the gospel and it goes through a worldly epistemology or a worldly worldview, then what I get is a worldly religion. If I hear the gospel and it goes through a biblical worldview, a biblical understanding of God, then I get a biblical religion. So, and this isn't even to say that Christianity is a religion, because it's not. Religion means to rebind, and that means religion is man's effort to rebind himself to God. Unfortunate for the man, there's a chasm forever impassable between him and God that he, as a finite being, cannot bridge. In other words, there's an unlimited distance between him and God that he cannot make bridge back to God, because the man has limits and boundaries. He's finite, and so, having sinned against the infinite being, we incur a being without limits or boundaries. We incur a debt that is without limits or boundaries. So there's a space between us and God that is unlimited, without limits or boundaries, meaning infinite. And so it's a chasm or a space between us that we, as finite or limited beings, cannot bridge back to God. It has to be bridged back to us by God, because only God is infinite. Only God could pass that distance. So Christianity isn't a religion. But so my point is that a poor understanding of God results in a poor understanding of the gospel. If I get somebody paints a picture in my mind, or if my thoughts about God are lopsided or skewed, then my understanding of the gospel and salvation and justification and atonement is going to be lopsided and skewed. So this is why it's so important that we understand that God first convicts of sin and then offers living water. In other words, God is just, but he's also love. And so when we have this proper understanding of him, then we can understand the gospel better and we can navigate through life correctly.